like a puzzle that's eluded them for many years now. Jay Cutler is a...
They could use somebody like Brian Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher, oh, yeah, of course. He's a 6 out of 10 quarterback that's getting paid like a 9 out of 10 quarterback. He's decent.
Oh, Jay Cutler?
Yeah. You have Brandon Marshall. Those two were dynamic in Denver, and they should be dynamic now. And the wide receiving core in Chicago is not that bad. It's just they need a coach who can actually coach to their strengths and not try to do everything all at once. That's what I think.
They had a problem with managing personalities because they had some locker room troubles in the middle of the year. After the debacle in New England, they just collapsed when it came to the locker room.
When you have guys blaming each other all the time during the week about, well, Cutler is causing our problems, Marshall next, it's never going to be a good sign. I think Chicago has the talent already.
Yeah, they do. They have the talent. They just need someone who's able to manage personalities and create a good, clean system for Cutler to get the ball out, because sometimes Cutler will hold on to that football too long. He needs to get it out quick and get it into the hands of many playmakers like Jeffries and like Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, don't forget about Hester as well. He's on the football team. He's
Martellus Bennett.
Forte.
Gosh, man.
They have such a good offense.
They returned every single starter on the offensive side. I know this sounds preposterous, but listen, that locker room's a mess. If there's anyone that can kind of reverse the tide back into the Bears of old, Super Bowl appearances.
Like Ditka Bears?
Like Ditka Bears. Boy, does that seem like an eternity ago. But how about bring back Lovie Smith? Is that preposterous?
No, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a great idea.
Lovie Smith.
Because look at the head coaching spectrum right now. You got Shanahan, maybe. You have Dennis Allen, former Raider guy. Rex Ryan is on the market. Mark Tress. There is, I think, no market right now for head coaches. Lovie Smith might be the best of the bunch. Even Jim Harbaugh is no longer a coach available at the NFL level.
Well, okay, technically the deal for college has not been confirmed yet. So he's gone this season.
He's going to Michigan.
But
Come on,
the Raiders are still trying to make it. Some NFL teams are trying to make a push. Sources have been saying that they'll pay more money for him to come. But the thing is, do you want to offer Jim Harbaugh a large contract? I think it's a good idea. Yes, he'll have some of those. He'll maybe have 3 out of 6 seasons that you don't make the playoffs. But if you can make the playoffs with Jim Harbaugh, I think you'll be completely fine. But going to the Bears, Jay Cutler, I mean, man, this guy, I mean, he's getting paid like Tom Brady does, and he's not doing anything like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning are doing.
That's the thing. It's desperate moves. And, Jason, I would like to hear your take on our beloved Chicago sports franchise, starting with the Bears.
Well, the Bears are just trying to figure themselves out. They're like a
identity crisis.
A teenager in the middle of high school sophomore year.
We're talking pimples, man. We're talking
just got rejected from a girl that he asked at homecoming. They're trying to figure out.
Or a guy, wherever you swing.
Whatever. Hey, one love, right? One love. So they're just trying to figure themselves out. They can be a decent team. They play in a very difficult division, but they can run with the best if they can believe that they're the best. They need to start.
I think difficult is somewhat overstretched when you have Detroit being the number one team out of that division.
Okay, fair enough. But I think that the Lovie Smith move might help rebuild this franchise because you're bringing a fan favorite in. The season ticket holders will be happy. They'll be like, okay, we like the old face. Try to redo things that worked in the past. But let's not forget, they need to return to the culture of having a very, very strong defense. That's what Lovie Smith works with. They got to the Super Bowl with that. They didn't win the Super Bowl with that, but they did get there with that strong defense, and that's what their culture is based. The Bears have always been a huge defensive team.
Yeah. And the culture, I don't think, will allow you to be a top-flight offense. When you have Jay Cutler with a worse passer rating than Alex Smith, you know you got a problem, and you know you're paying the guy too much. So what's next for Chicago? Do they decide to go away from Cutler?
Cutler, who are they going to replace with? Who's the quarterback market this year?
For a little bit, it was Josh McCown. It was the Josh McCown discussion.
Your guy will go on the market.
Colin Kaepernick?
Yes.
Colin, okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Gosh.
So, when the Niners are doing good this year in the beginning,
you guys should tune off right now.
They struggled, and I'm going to UNR. So remember, I am going to the Wolfpack next year, and guess who went there? Mr. Colin Kaepernick himself.
Yes,
Everyone loves him there. Okay? And I thought this season, let's grow to love him a little bit. I was wrong. Don't go to 11 because you know what? He's just gonna stick it up like always. This guy, he can run. He's very athletic.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Doesn't have an arm. Doesn't have an arm. Okay,
Well,
maybe.
people talk
Wait. Let me finish.
Okay,
Let me finish.
I want to
people
debate
compare-
that.
Wait.
Okay,
Let me
go,
finish.
go, go.
Let me make 2 more points.
2 more.
Vernon Davis wasn't the guy he was last year or the last couple of years, so I get that. He struggled with that. I did not like Michael Crabtree this year either. I thought he was he was kind of a selfish guy this year because he would always drop easy passes, and I was really like mad about that because I think Colin Kaepernick can be a good quarterback, just not in San Francisco. San Francisco is not the place.
Okay. I mean, I really do think Colin Kaepernick can be a good quarterback somewhere else, but the Niners also had some identity issues because they are a power team. When you have Gore and you have this huge offensive line, you got to pound the football, but they started to become a pass-happy offense with Kaepernick, and that's not going to work. You have to run the football and use the play-action passing game with Kaepernick, and it didn't happen. So Kaepernick, he can be a great quarterback. He has the potential. I agree with you, but I thought you were going to say Kaepernick was overrated because that's all I hear at my
Yeah.
school. At
He's
my
not-
school, I just hear Kaepernick is horrible.
He's not like that overrated because he actually has some good skill sets in him
Yeah.
that he uses. But one thing that Nick, when I talked about the 2 quarterback system, it almost could have worked. You know, I could have gotten my point wrong against Baltimore versus San Francisco. Alex Smith gets hurt. They put in Colin Kaepernick, wanted really different type of offense.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I thought that Colin Kaepernick was never going to win this thing. I'm like, okay, you could prove me wrong here. The 2 quarterback system, I have to be quiet because you know what? It worked. But it didn't. It didn't at the end of the day. You saw
But-
Joe Flacco
but
was the quarterback all
Why
season
am I
long.
reminded, though, when I see Colin Kaepernick, a little bit of Manziel with his off-the-field issues? It's not quite
He
as
doesn't
dramatic.
have it.
He
doesn't
doesn't
have-
have offensive issues. I mean, off the field.
He does
It's
get
not
fined a
as
lot,
dramatic, but it's still, I see a little bit of that in him.
Well, I mean, what off the field issues does he have? I mean, everybody complains about his tattoos, but other than that, I mean, what does he really have? Like, what baggage does he really have?
Well, it's funny
Like-
because Brady has more off-the-field talk.
Yeah,
with-
Brady has more off the field baggage than Kaepernick, and Brady's enjoyed so much success.
I just can't. The way that I work, I just need some sort of pinpoint as to why that offense just fell apart. I have no idea.
identity
how.
issue. They
No.
went past happy.
But we also have the report, guys, as Jim Harbaugh mutually parted ways with the 49ers and Jed York. And I think this was a good idea just coming from a Niners standpoint just because it was just so much distractions. And I think a lot of the players were like, we hate this. You know, we have to hear going to Michigan, doing this, that. Oh, we stink.
Oh, well,
Colin
if
Kaepernick
that
not
talk
doing
was
very well.
in during the middle portion of the year, then you already know.
Yeah, it was
that
in the middle
it was
portion of
going
the
to
year,
happen.
and it
Yeah.
sucked being a Niners fan because you know what? It got annoying. Like media made a huge
Because
deal out
Harbaugh
of it.
didn't put that talk to bed. He
Exactly.
continued to let that thing
But
simmer.
Jim Harbaugh handled it very well. He was like, I'm going to worry about my job first,
Yeah.
and then I'll worry about if.
but
you
he
know, I
never
leave."
denied it.
No, he never did deny.
So
and that was
that was-
something you don't
that was
deny
the beginning
it.
of the end. Well, one other thing that I want to mention, and I would love to get Jason Garoline's take on this. All right, what is the explanation of the Oakland Raiders? 12 consecutive seasons where they lose at least 10 games. Boy, that is an eternity. It's the longest streak in the NFL.
Mhm.
I would like to get your impressions on the Oakland Raiders. Now they may just be on potentially their 1 millionth head coach next season.
It starts with the culture in Oakland.
Okay.
A very, very notorious, infamous fan culture in Oakland, known to be very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
But passionate as well. But
Haven't you said that lives have been lost?
Lives
Becoming
have
an
been-
Oakland Raiders fan?
yes, that's very true.
Makes sense.
As a player, unless you're forcibly picked for the Raiders to be on their team, it's not a destination you want to be in. You don't want to be playing on grass that's not as green as it is in Gillette Stadium or where the Broncos play, Mile High. The second starts with the front office. Al Davis owned that team for so long. He had a grasp on that team, and to the day he died, he held that tight grip on that team and didn't let them expand. Even after he died, they still haven't really expanded as a team. The coaching, they haven't found a coach. They have never let the team formally rebuild. They always say, okay, this coach is not working, take him out. It takes time, Oakland, to get to success. It
They
happened.
think they can cure 12 years of struggle in one day.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Second, I think it's the players. They're not motivated to keep on playing. I mean, the fans might get them there, but when they're not able to trust each other and rely on each other to succeed, that's where it falls apart. And I want to focus on Derek Carr for a second. I was able to attend a Raiders Chargers game. He gets very nervous. I've noticed.
Really?
When I remember 3 instances where he was backed up in his own end zone, and the crowd was going crazy, and you could just tell. I was in the nosebleeds, but I could tell he was about to. He was about to lose.
Did Carr have a nosebleed after that game?
I hope it's not.
Gosh.
But he was panicking. He was making really bad passes, and it just shows. He needs to get composure and realize he's playing for the Raiders. There's nothing worse than this. This is the bottom to the up. So help your team. Keep calm. Just maybe you can make a few plays that are going to help, but it's a long-term problem. But they can find a solution within the next 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Yes.
What is the solution? I don't.
Whatever coach comes there, let him sit, let him simmer, let him become part of the culture, let him become part of the franchise. Owners need to trust the coach. The GM needs to take a page out of Billy Bean's little notebook and get free agents who are low cost or low risk, low cost but high reward. That's what they need to go after. And let the team sit. Let them accumulate wins. And in 2 years, they will have at least 13 wins in those 2 seasons collected. That's not a lot, but it's a heck of a lot
That's
more.
not bad. Yeah.
Averaging 6-10 or 7-9.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's
at all.
actually good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just let them sit. Playoffs might.
That's
maybe
like
not-
winning the Super Bowl for the Oakland
All
Raiders.
right, all right. Let me get in this
Okay.
because I'm Bay Area native.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the black hole.
Hey, the Raiders beat the Niners this year.
Ooh.
Yes, they did because the Niners couldn't get the job done in that defense. I mean, I feel like when the Raiders have won, their defense comes up huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
They have
and
a good
do.
defense. Some players on that team defensively could start anywhere in the league.
But they do have a lot of old guys on that defense too.
Yeah.
Like, is Charles Woodson ever gonna retire? Like, are they gonna offer him like a buttload of money? Hey, just come back for another season. Just
Nah,
why not?
It'll be the same drama. You know what I mean? The Favre drama.
But
I'm done.
here-
I'll be coming back.
This is what I think of the Raiders. You bring back Darren McFadden. You bring back an old Maurice Jones-Drew. Like, why? Like, why? These guys are terrible. They're done.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's like these guys are, like, it's like old, like, what is it? They've been in the league for, like, over 8 years, and it's like, just let them go. Like, let Darren McFadden go to a different team already. Latavius Murray is probably going to be their new running back. I see the rookie transition. Derek Carr, you go to Latavius Murray.
I think
I love their
Latavius could
O-line.
be a starter.
I love
in
their
the
O-line.
league.
Their
Yeah.
O-line is going to get better. I think all they need is one more draft pick
Right.
to make that O-line solid. Their wide receivers, they actually gather a lot of guys for that core. And
The funny thing with the Raiders, almost every starter on their football team either is getting paid nothing or next to nothing.
yeah, exactly.
Undrafted rookie free agents. You got late round draft picks. It's just funny how the Oakland Raiders are so backwards. The more that they try and invest on a guy like a Khalil Mack or like let's just look at the last decade of draft history for the Raiders, right? Jamarcus Russell, Darius
Oh,
Hayward-Bay,
jeez.
Rolando McClain, just to name 3 of their first round draft busts.
But I think
This
Khalil
team
Mack
is so
broke it.
horrible at detecting talent that's how they've been so bad.
But Khalil Mack broke that. I think maybe not yet.
You do have
But
a
he did have a
staple,
good
if you
season.
will.
He had a good
Yeah.
season. He didn't have a great season. He wasn't terrible, but he had a good season. And I like what the defense is doing. Nick Roach was out for the year. That was the man that the Raiders really look for. Maybe you guys don't know him, but he was a middle linebacker last year, had the most tackles for the Raiders.
Right.
He gets injured, unfortunately, so he had more step up. Khalil Mack step up a little bit. One thing that I really think about, DJ Hayden. He's been a bust. He's been a first-round bust, too. I mean, this guy gets injured. He gets too many penalties.
Take a look at the Raiders'
There's too
history.
many penalties.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Also, one thing, they just need to work on cornerback crew. Safeties-wise, they've had a lot of injuries in that position. Charles Woodson has been like the only secondary guy that's stayed healthy. So, Cameron, actually, I'm going to ask you a question here.
All right.
So, with Derek Carr, do you see him as a franchise quarterback, and why do you think so?
Maybe. I just think, to me, the one solution for Oakland is they need to do anything they can to get Jim Harbaugh. I mean,
Yeah.
throw a ton of money if you have to.